Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Resilient Living Podcast. I'm here with my co host, Jared Wilson.
Howdy.
And I'm Ryan Steva. And today we're going to be talking about David Holmgren's fifth principle and why you need to know about renewable resources and why that might be a bit different than what you initially think when you hear it. And
Right. This is a good topic. I like this one.
Yeah. I was just telling Jared that I was really specific and intentional about not putting modern windmills and solar panels in the thumbnail because that's really not what we're trying to get at. It's not some cliche modern interpretation. It's a lot deeper than that. So
right. But AI wants it wants it all the modern.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's, if you go and dig through the interwebs, anything that's called renewable is going to be, a solar panel or something like that. And it's not really renewable. And it's really not what we're talking about. So,
although for right now, while people are jumping in, let's talk about solar panels.
All right.
Because I have them.
Good.
I was thinking about this would be kind of funny. Okay. So one of the companies that I do have or in frame, there we go, are these little fold up solar panels. And I specifically like these ones, the Flex Solar ones, because the material that they used for the physical surface and most importantly the junction between the panels actually holds up really well under UV radiation. And ironically, a lot of the manufacturers who make these small solar panels do a really crappy job of making things UV stable.
Planned obsolescence,
I guess, maybe. Yeah, they're thinking is like, people are just going to throw it in their backpack. It's going to stay there, never going to actually get used. It'll be fine.
Right.
So as long as you never use it, it's great.
Yeah, and you should use it. You should try it out. Jared let me borrow one of those a few weeks back for a class, and it's actually pretty cool. They do a good job.
Yeah, and so this is the little one. This is the 15 watt. So it's got the direct USB output, but then you get like the bigger one, like the 40 or the 60, and it has direct DC out, so you can run straight to an MPPT charger and run to charge controller, battery. You could do pretty big. I mean, I've got all the way up through like 300 watt big panels, but these little guys are great because like when you're backpacking, you hang that thing off the back of your backpack and you can keep your stuff charged up as you're going. Like I tell everybody, is like this little thing, it's going to take like 6 hours to charge up your phone from dead. The bigger ones are definitely easier because you can just toss them out, throw a battery on them, and let them cook while you go out fishing or whatever. But these ones are nice because they're small and light, so you can hang it on your bag while you're walking because you're going to be walking in the sun most likely anyway. So
yeah. I wonder if there's a good way to like strap it on your, if you've got a bag where you can make the clips actually strap really nice. Have you figured that out yet?
Yeah, so it comes with a couple of these little carabiners, and most of the bags that I have some kind of a top carry handle, and you can rig it up so that it hangs from that carry handle right over the back, and so it's kind of arced across the back so it catches all the different rays of sun. It works.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like I said, I got to borrow one and I had some fun, running it through tests, and it did. I think you're right. I had the 40 watt one and it did great.
Oh yeah.
So if you need one, go to Jared's shop, pick one up. He'll tell you all about it, let you test it out, I'm sure too.
That's right. They're always running in the shop. It's funny because like I don't have them in direct sunlight, but they're all running hot because just the reflected light in there is enough to pick it up and to discharge or somewhat.
Yeah. So we've talked about the 12 permaculture principles that David Holmgren laid out. Other people have actually come up with a whole bunch more. So if you dig around, I think Bill Mollison had 20 or 30 of them.
Yeah, big list.
A bigger list that was more in depth, but Holmgren tried to kind of narrow it down to the basics.
Yeah, the overarching umbrella of ideas.
Yeah, it's like a distilled version.
Yeah.
And so we're on number 5, which is the concept of use and value renewable resources. And really the idea here is thinking about, I think we've talked about function stacking in one of the previous episodes, where you're trying to use something in as many places as possible. In this case, it's as many times as possible, or keeping it in that loop or in that system as long as possible.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna throw Jared a curveball here.
Okay.
Uh, I wrote down for another class that I teach the life cycle of a meat chicken and all the different ways that it actually can turn over within a system uh,
Okay.
in like a homestead, and the ways that I use it and the ways that other people use them.
Sure.
Uh,
Like the way that they can like you can use them to till up manure, to turn over compost, that kind of stuff.
yeah, absolutely. So you got any other? I'm just gonna put you on the spot and see what else you can come up with.
Oh,
I've
okay.
got notes.
Oh, okay. I'm sure you don't need notes for this. This is what
You
you
know,
live and breathe. Well, I mean, like, okay, so yeah, like, birds are really good at finding critters. So I mean, like they can, manage small, insects around your garden. Chickens aren't great in gardens like ducks are, but they can be good for managing stuff around it while they're living. Like I said, good for turning over compost and manure to break that down. That's an easy one. What else we got? Shoot, you are putting me on the spot. Hmm.
all right, I'll throw one at you.
Okay.
When you process them, you got the guts and things, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, sure, right.
So that can go in a black soldier fly bin.
Yeah. Oh yes.
So now we're creating new protein that's safe for my egg laying chickens to eat because it's been processed by something else, right?
Right.
And that other thing is going to self harvest to those chickens. So I'm going to get, even though it's a meat chicken, I'm going to get eggs out of it,
Right.
right? I'm going to get the frass after the black soldier flies have done
Are
their
done.
thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's going to be compost for my garden.
Sure.
So I've got eggs, compost. That compost, of course, is going to turn over and over. Like it's going to, the biological life that's in the black soldier fly and the larva there is actually going to now go into my soil, and it's going to
Yeah.
improve my soil year over year. So I've got an ongoing benefit there.
Sure.
And that's before we've even eaten the meat,
I was
right?
gonna say, yeah, because you still got, you can render down the bones and
Mhm.
make bone broths. You've got the meat itself.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
So now we've got meat that's going to carry us through and be a benefit, and
yeah,
absolutely render down the
Bix on it, feathers for down, making arrows. Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Making arrows would be great. Not sure if I'd like chicken down.
Better than
But
nothing. I mean, it's an
yeah.
insulative. I mean,
Yeah. No, you could use it right for an insulator for something. But yeah, absolutely. You can use it for feathers. You can process those down to a lot of different things. You can turn them back into a meal that goes on your not for animals,
oh
but
no.
bone meal. There you go. Yep, Vic's on it. So another thing I can do is after I've made my bone broth for myself, um, I usually do 72-hour bone broth. So by the
Okay.
time it's done, the bones are mush.
Mhm.
And that's an awesome meal for my dog.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
now my
yeah.
my dog is protecting my next round of meat chickens and probably protected that one as well.
Sure.
He's going to live longer, be healthier, be more agile and vigilant, and do great things. And he might even drop the waste back on my property. I'm not sure if I like that one as much, but
Well, yeah.
it gets cycled either way.
Right.
Um, so now he's getting all that benefit. Um, and basically we're just using this, turning it back, folding it back into the system over and over again in that way. So let's see, what else did I have? Veggies. Yeah, obviously as the compost is improved, that improves my vegetables, which improves like the rotten tomatoes or the weeds or whatever that comes out of my garden gets thrown again back to the chickens, and I get
Yeah.
more eggs out of it.
Well, I'll say you've got your, having them run behind your ruminants and distribute all of their fecal matter is going to help that break down quicker and,
Right.
better. So yeah.
Yeah, and their scratching on the ground can help uh, with certain seed beds or change the soil the way that I want it to be,
Hmm.
for benefiting certain types of grasses and other things in my pasture or
Right.
orchard. So yeah, bug control, like you kind of already mentioned. Um, the cycle that one meat bird goes through really kind of never ends because it ends up all of that essentially ends up back in our soils.
Yes.
And so it improves it for the next time. And each time we're building, even if it's just a tiny bit, if we think of everything we're doing in that way,
Cumulative, yes.
yeah, yeah,
Over
exactly.
time, we're thinking about the next generation. I mean, that was what, a couple, episodes ago. We may not see a direct benefit, but my kids might. Their
Right.
kids probably definitely will.
Yeah. Well, and I think you will see a direct benefit, right?
I do
Like,
too.
yeah, my garden is way better because of the compost and the other things that I've put on it that's been almost entirely made by my egg layer chickens. But,
Sure.
but I have put, even just gone straight. So I've put direct, innards from the meat birds when I process them. I've
Yeah.
dug up rows and put that straight in the ground, and the plants that year do amazing.
Sure. Oh
And
yeah.
the
Well,
next year, they're
and
still benefiting.
to Vic's point, it's like rabbits, same thing. Like the fecal matter from rabbits, the way that their gut processes things, it's great. You
Mhm.
throw that straight in your garden. It's like
Yeah,
and then yeah, if they're some species of rabbits are better than others for pelts because some of them their skin's just too thin, they don't process out well. But yeah, that's another perfect animal that's got lots of applications and uses.
right. Yeah, I mean, you think of cattle,
Yeah.
and you don't just, like, slaughter a cattle to get you know, I don't know, a sirloin steak or something, right?
Right. Yeah. No.
You really should be using every last
Every
part of
bit of
it.
it. Yes.
Yeah. So even if you're a deer hunter, like, and you tan your own hides, well, one way that's been done is with the brain of the
Brain.
animal.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of gross, but we really, if we're going to take the life of an animal, we should be using every single part of it down to the last thing that we can
Yeah.
get out.
It's I mean, I see it as a responsibility. We should
Mhm.
make that sacrifice as meaningful as possible. And we do that one by being a good ethical kill, and two by utilizing as much of that, you know, animal as we possibly can.
Yeah, we talked a lot. I mean, we talk a lot in general about being good stewards, but we
Mhm.
talked specifically about that a couple of episodes ago. That everything that we put our hands on, we should be making better. We should
Yeah.
be improving. And so when we're thinking about the fifth permaculture principle of being value renewable resources, we're stepping, to the extent that we can, we're stepping away from the consumeristic mindset of, oh, well, I broke that, I'll go buy more.
Yeah. Right.
Or, well, I'm out of that thing, I'll go buy more. And it's not that money can't be used, it should be used, and we should balance that. Because there is a point at which doing something yourself, is there's systems already set up to do that for you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about that. It's like, yes, I could technically go and, pound out, an ingot and make the steel, and I could make the knife, or I could just go buy one for, a little bit at resilientliving.com.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like, yes, we can, do, but when we are doing something like you said with chickens, like if we have chickens, well, let's make the most of them. Like let's let them do their thing and benefit from it. Let's, use the ducks to the utmost of their potential, their potential. Yeah.
yeah. Well, even, I mean, in industry, if the industry is being run right, they're going to use every product that comes out of something. I mean, look at
Yeah.
refining oil, right? You've
Yeah.
got all these
All the
levels
different
of,
grades of, yeah,
yep. So, I mean, you've got gasoline, then you've got diesel, you've got
all the
kerosene,
different kerosenes.
and
Yep.
then, yeah, as you move down,
Jet fuels and all that. Yep.
there's the heavier oils that are used for, like, tankers, and then, you get to the very bottom and it seems useless. Well, no, it can be used for paving roads. It's
Right.
asphalt.
Yeah.
And
The
so it's something
sludge.
like, yeah, 99 some percent of, um, the raw materials of oil that comes out of the ground actually
Get
gets
used.
used.
Yeah, from
Now,
the vapors themselves all the way down to the sludge that's left over.
right. Now, people watching this may not really like that as an example, but it what it's doing is, yeah, I realize there's some nasty chemicals that come out of the refining process, and there's probably air pollution and things. But the point being,
It's the efficiency of the system that we're driving towards, where we want
Yeah,
people to think more broader. Is like we have different applications for something. We can parse it out. We can utilize it in multiple ways. There's a lot of diversity in our ecosystem that we can, by stacking it appropriately, we can better all of it.
right, exactly. And the amazing thing about doing this in natural systems as opposed to, so if we look at like the, you know, oil production and how we can, how they use so much of that, they use almost 100% of what comes out of the ground. Well, we actually have biological systems that start to reproduce themselves. So let's use trees, for example.
Yeah.
They're using solar power to suck carbon out of the air
Yep.
and turn that into a structure that now becomes a potential fuel source, but it's renewable. It can actually keep growing itself.
hmm Yeah,
So,
self-replicating system that is
exactly.
with multiple forms of replication at that. Like you've got, the little suckers that run and
Mhm.
jump up out of the, or a limb that, gets too close to the ground, or we have nuts, or we have, like, it's a really robust system.
Yeah. Well, let's harp on trees for a minute to drive that point home, right?
Yeah.
Um, are you familiar with pollarding a tree?
We had talked about that when Carrie was on, I want to
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Yep.
It was a term that I had not, and enlighten our guests.
Yeah. So there's kind of two general forms of managing trees by lopping them off.
Right.
One is you lop it off a decent amount above the ground, like a foot or more above the ground. So anywhere from like a foot to 10 feet or so. That's
Right.
called pollarding. Below that, so you're basically lopping it off at the ground, is called coppicing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah.
you do it specifically to trees that can grow new shoots off of that.
hmm
So let's take a poplar, for example.
Okay.
You just let a poplar grow, it'll get huge. And then when it starts to die off, it'll start dropping limbs.
Mm.
Another way to manage it, if you want poplar for firewood or for other things, is to let it grow, let's say to 6 feet, lop it off at 6 feet when it's still a fairly small tree.
Right.
Now it's going to send out, it's going to get this kind of gnarly
Yeah. And it goes
knuckle thing.
out
It's going to
the
send up a whole
sides.
bunch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a whole bunch of these new shoots coming off of that gnarly lump.
Right.
And those shoots, if you manage it for a while, those shoots will become nice round, like firewood size, like
Yeah.
firewood size
Sure.
shoots. And so now you can go and cut those, and you can have a rotational cutting of them. And now you can have decent BTU firewood that is already the right size. So now you don't have to split it. It's already the right size to go in your fireplace
Right.
or your wood stove or whatever.
And it's got that
And
root base so it can continuously draw and pull in.
exactly. And so here's the other thing with something like a poplar or a willow or some of these other trees that actually like being coppiced in some
Mm.
way. Pear is actually a really good example as well. Um,
Really?
when you pollard or coppice them, it essentially resets their genetic structure. So
They think they're young again
exactly.
because it's a new shoot. Sure.
Yep. So you can do this for thousands of years to the same tree.
Ha.
So
Wow.
now
Imagine
you
the root ball on that sucker.
yeah, exactly. So now you've got a base of tree that you can just keep harvesting and harvesting from.
Sure.
And if it's willow, that could be extra food for your animals. So you stack, we talked about stacking before. You stack in that space, that
Sure.
vertical space instead of just the horizontal plane. So yeah, now we're using a renewable resource. When we burn the wood in our wood stove, that carbon goes back out, that CO2 goes out and grows that tree faster
Right.
next time. So it's this incredible cycle if we're careful about how we manage it.
Sure. I guess I mean that really kind of is it's intentionality. Like
Mhm.
when we go into whatever, if we go in there with that intentionality of making that system as efficient as we can, then yeah, I mean we're going to see benefits from that.
Right.
I
So
mean,
another way to
there's definitely, I guess, some limitations on because what we've seen some extreme versions of like trying to get every last ounce out of it. Like we lose some something in the
Well,
translation.
the efficiency it becomes a problem elsewhere
Sure. Yeah.
because our personal energy matters too. Our life
Yeah.
force.
Yeah. When we're spending all of our time in abilities to eke out that last couple percent, not
Yeah.
the best
Yeah,
use.
it's going to be pulled from somewhere else.
Sure. Sure.
So the question then is, the real question is, what else could do that work for me?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is exactly what
So
we're talking about.
yeah, because a pig has a job,
Yeah.
a chicken has a job.
Being delicious. That's its job.
It's one job. I guess it's got multiple jobs. Um, yeah,
It's
being big.
turning garbage into bacon.
Yes, exactly. Um, but pig's root, which is
Yeah.
useful,
Oh
pig's
yeah.
poop, which is useful. They can plug your pond up so it stops leaking. That's
Mhm.
useful. So turning the animal towards the job means you don't have to. And so let's say it's plugging a hole in a pond. Well, you could go buy a bunch of bentonite clay that somebody used fossil fuels to, dig out of the ground and then
Yep.
charged you a bunch for and then shipped. And then, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Or you can make some bacon while you plug the hole in your pond.
That sounds
So,
perfect to me. I don't
yeah.
know.
And if you've got the right fodder trees or the right, maybe you're growing squash and you've got an apple orchard and you've got some spent fruit, or you've got somebody down the road who's got spent fruit,
Right.
maybe you've got a cidery nearby and they've got, mashed apple from, yeah, that can all go to the pig.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you can spent grains from a brewery, like all that stuff can go to a pig to fatten them up for you to eat,
Yes.
keep you going, rather than you spending a whole bunch of your life force making money to pay somebody else to get bentonite clay to put in your pond that
Yeah.
may or
Right.
may not work. Um,
That you still have to actually put into the pond and get it into those, cracks or whatever. And
right. Well, and a pig is a renewable resource in that it'll have babies
yes,
and it's going to eat some form of something that's essentially produced through
something
photosynthesis.
natural. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And we get how many tons of sunlight hitting the earth every day?
A
That,
lot.
yeah, that is largely wasted because,
Yes.
we're not using it for something.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, even I mean, from the artificial side of the equation,
Mhm.
the best solar panels, what, 30% in laboratory, something like
Yeah,
that,
somewhere in there.
maybe. That's not really that efficient.
No.
Plants are really efficient though.
Yes. Yeah, they're highly efficient. And not only are they highly efficient, when you stack them together, your tree that produces dappled shade now is using a huge percentage of the light that it's getting. Both the because you've got photons, right? And
Yeah,
you've got the physical side of light and the waveform side of light, and the plants are using both of them,
yeah, all of it.
and that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Mhm. Well, yeah, because
So
that's one of the limitations of photovoltaic cells is they're limited to a very narrow bandwidth of which, lights they can actually, absorb.
right. Yeah. Yeah, and it's kinda like, God made these plants to do something we could never design.
Right. Well,
So
yeah, I
it's
mean,
pretty
like
cool.
the whole photosynthesis process, it was something like 30 different chemical reactions that are occurring within the plant structure to convert through all of its different processes, and each one has a purpose. Every step of the way, it has a purpose and it does a thing. It's amazing. It's a great system.
Yeah. No, absolutely, and, you mentioned chemistry, and that's a really good point because when we think of, let's say I'm taking firewood and I'm burning it and I'm
Mhm.
using it for something, most people don't think of a fire as a chemical
Chemical
process.
reaction. Yes, right.
Yeah, because it
Hydrocarbon
just
chain being ripped apart, forming carbon dioxide and oxygen and water molecules and all that. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't like cross our brains, but what we're doing is we're taking the tree took the one form, turned it into a form that becomes, available for it's a biomass.
Yep.
So it's available, like it's stored energy. And now we're taking it with chemistry, ripping that energy out of it,
Yep.
using it, putting those raw elements back in the sky.
Yeah.
One, so here's the other thing that I was going to get to in trees. When we burn them, what if you burn wood at the proper temperature and with proper stoichiometry,
Oxygen.
the
Yes.
proper
Right.
oxygen ratios,
Yeah.
what you have left is basically minerals.
Yeah. Raw char is
Yeah.
just straight up. Yeah. All the good
Like,
stuffs.
yeah, you could have carbon if you don't allow the carbon to burn.
Yep.
But
Depending on what,
beyond that,
what your
yeah,
oxygen, allowance was at the, combustion point. Yeah.
exactly. And so the other thing that's happening is these trees, one of the cycles that's built in to how trees function is the trees will pull up with their very deep roots. They're going to pull up the minerals that
Right.
are not at the topsoil. So let's say there's no selenium in the topsoil.
Right.
Well,
Taproot goes, hey, I can get it.
yeah, exactly. And the biological life in the soil actually helps with that exchange system. And
Right.
so the plant or the tree in this case will put out exudates, and the
Mm,
biologics will actually process the minerals or the other things that are needed into essentially a colloidal form
that's
that the
rad.
tree can move with water
Right.
up through its solar powered pump system.
Yes.
And so now you're taking, when you're burning wood, that ash that you have left, that's basically just minerals. Those minerals are going to be, because minerals aren't damaged or destroyed in this process, at
Right.
least the ones we're talking about.
Yeah. It's mostly just the hydrocarbon chain that gets ripped
Yes,
apart.
correct. And so now that little bit of ash that you have left in the bottom of your wood stove is highly condensed mineral base that your soil actually needs,
Yeah.
especially if that tree came from your property.
Sure. Or
So,
you can use it.
yeah,
You use that lye to make soaps that are really beneficial to your skin because minerals.
exactly. Or so, um, I'm trying to remember his name, Joel Wallach,
Okay.
cranky old man. Um, I don't agree with everything he says, but he's very interesting in that he wrote this book called Dead Doctors Don't Lie.
Oh, okay.
And the premise is that doctors on average die at like 56. Like if
Oh,
you go into the actuaries,
oh, dang.
that's the median age.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he starts going through, and the book itself isn't actually that great, but um, he does lay out the case where he started as a veterinarian, then he became an MD, then he also has like 4 or 5 postdoctorate degrees in pathology
Oh,
and
man.
naturopathy and all
Sure.
kinds of things. So, anyways, in the veterinary industry, he was the first person to find certain diseases that were called different things in animals, but
Okay.
he figured out that
It's
they're
the
the
same thing.
exact same mineral deficiency.
Okay.
Um, and so some of it was prenatal stuff, some of it was afterwards. People would get diseases because they were too deficient.
Sure.
And so he did this huge study in the 70s, is like a multi-million dollar study through a grant
Oh, dang.
on longevity, basically just like cultures that lived a long time.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
was not uncommon to live to 100 or well beyond
Those
100.
like green zone studies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he did a real one instead of trying to find what you want and cherry picking.
Right.
And what he found is basically all of them lived as what we would consider a third world, because they didn't really have electricity. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
you're going through this, the normal um, processes for sleep, wake, all that. Like you're cycling with the seasons.
Sure.
But the biggest one he found was that they used wood for heat and cooking, and that they put the ashes back in their garden and on their pastures.
Nice.
Yeah. So just, these trees are bringing up the things that we don't have that we may need, that
Sure.
doesn't show up in our tomato
Yeah.
because our topsoil doesn't have it. And the tree's trying to fix that over a long period of time by dropping leaves.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
But if
playing
we
the
just
long game. Yeah.
but if we cut its arm off and burn it, it goes a lot faster.
I mean, you're not wrong. Well, yeah. I
There's
mean, and how much better is that than going to the nature store and buying little pills and trying to take all the supplements? Like, if we can ingest it directly in our food, how much better is that absorbed?
Yes. Yeah, it's in generally a colloidal form, which means
Yeah.
it's
So bioavailability is way higher.
yep. Yeah, even higher than like a chelated or something else like that, because it can dissolve directly into a liquid.
Sure.
So yeah, one other way a tree can be cycled back into the system is biochar, which we
Yeah,
kind of hinted at.
we did.
Because biochar, so that's going to improve the soil. It's going to improve the number of microbes you can have by, you know, hundreds of folds, hundreds of
Many,
times.
many times. Yes.
Yeah. So putting that in the soil now means that your soil is so much more uh, microbiologically rich, which is
Right.
extremely important for function.
Yeah.
Um, Beyond that, it also absorbs and holds water and releases it when things dry out. So every pound of biochar can hold about 7 pounds of water.
Oh, wow. Dang.
Yeah. Yep. So now we're taking this tree and we're improving the soil. If we burn it in the correct way, we can take that biochar and use it in the soil. But what I do with it with biochar is you need to activate it or
Yeah.
charge it, it's called. Right?
Yeah.
So I crush it up and throw it in with my chickens.
Okay. Yeah.
So my chickens benefit. Yeah. Less diseases. The chickens eat it. They have a lot less digestive issues because of eating it and having access to it.
Yep.
And by the time they poop it out, it's charged and ready to go on the garden.
Perfect.
Yeah. But it also removes smells and things from coops. So
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah. So that mixed with, open grain wood chips really absorbs
Mhm.
all and deals with a lot of those, nastiness, symptoms, I would say,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
chickens.
No, I mean that's the main complaint, right? Is people are like, I don't want
They
chickens.
smell.
They
Yeah.
smell and they scratch things. Well,
It's a good thing if it's used correctly.
yeah, exactly. Because the reason they smell is because of high nitrogen, high ammonia. Well, if you harness that to break down high carbon,
Yeah.
you're benefiting both. And so then their job is to scratch. So let them scratch that carbon and nitrogen and ammonia together until it becomes compost for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should never be like, if an animal does something that makes them unpleasant to have, think about how you make that problem the solution.
Yeah. Well, and we see the same thing in character flaws in people. Like, well, no, that's
Mhm.
just a bad application of a talent.
Yeah.
Like, yes, a incredible attention to detail, which makes you really annoying. But you would be well suited for certain industries that need that. Like, that's a good thing if it's applied correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the people who are labeled, neurodivergent or whatever, they're the
Yes.
most interesting people ever. You just have to direct their energy towards something that's, maybe not quite as nuanced and boring as the thing they're.
Yeah, we get bored easily.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how you were in school, but like,
I was homeschooled.
oh, well, yeah, I was too. But, like going to college for me, it was drudgery. I
Oh,
should not have been in college, but that was everybody has to go to
oh,
college.
right.
Or
My
nothing.
my college experience was diverse. I mean, I took Latin and machining and welding and soccer and music theory, music appreciation. Like, I was all over the place because,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you did it right. My first year was at like a tech school
sure.
where basically the government was paying me just a tiny bit to go because they covered my whole tuition plus like
Sweet.
books.
Yeah.
That was good. I got to
Yeah.
do welding and,
Yeah.
and trigonometry and stuff that
That's the only reason
made
I
me
went. It
very
was I was still in high school, and so I got to go for like $8 a semester because it was
nice.
like concurrent enrollment. And so, like, I graduated high school with like double the number of credits and like a 4.6 GPA or something like that.
Cool.
Cool.
That works. Yeah, I know somebody who was unschooled.
Yeah.
And she had to learn so she had never really done anything with math by the time she was in high school,
Oh, wow.
but she wanted to do dance. Like she wanted to take dance in a college class,
Okay.
and she was required to have done algebra 1 and 2.
Oh,
So she went online, she found resources, she learned algebra 1 and 2 and like basically mastered it in 2 weeks, and because she had the right incentive,
sure.
right?
That's
What
funny.
did Charlie Munger say? Show me the
Oh, show
incentive,
me
and
the
I'll show you
incentive.
the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
he was interesting. Charlie Munger, his concepts on incentives.
Yeah.
He always had something to say about incentives.
Yeah. Sure.
But you can move that over to your kids or to your farm animals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If they don't have a reason to do something, they're going to push back. If they have a
Mhm.
reason to do something, they're going to, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, so Joel Salatin, they keep their cattle. There's some confinement. They'll have a hay area, and so it'll get really deep in hay.
Oh, okay.
Like they've got a barn or a covered area during the winter, and so to deal with that, what they do is they bring in pigs, and so as the cattle are kind of getting the hay matted down and piled up and wasting it,
Sure.
they'll be throwing corn and other grains in the in the hay.
Yeah.
And so then over the winter, because of the cattle peeing on it and things like
Yeah.
that, it'll be wet enough that grain starts to ferment, and the pigs love it.
Oh, that's funny.
So they'll go through and they'll root.
I'll
So
root through it. Yeah.
he'll take pigs that do a really good job rooting, because some pigs do better than others.
Yeah.
And they'll go through and they'll root that entire system up, create compost, turn it for them.
Nice.
So he's given the pig an incentive to do its own job.
Right.
And that job becomes beneficial to everybody.
Yeah. Everybody wins. Uh-huh.
Yep. So even the things like, we should always think of waste on a homestead, on a permaculture site, as that's an evil word, right?
It's an untapped resource.
Yeah. I made the mistake once. I wrote up like a follow-up after a consultation with somebody and said, here's how to deal with human waste. And they promptly corrected me and said, that's not waste.
That's right.
Like, yeah, you're right. I was not being careful with my language. Thank you.
Too funny.
Yeah. But no waste. Yeah. I mean, we should, as we're thinking of cycling things, we should really never have waste, or very little.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always gonna be stuff that doesn't break down further, or that, like, I don't have a use for that. Yeah.
Right. And realistically, in the world we live in, you're not going to be able to buy something functionally and live functionally without some type of plastic wrapper periodically.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
right.
Taped up box. I mean, I can reuse the box. I can't reuse the tape. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're, what was that one dude's name? Something Brown. He's got the plastiline processor. He's using like microwave and vacuum or something like that to make gasoline alternative out of plastic. It's like, you know what? Good on you. I mean, like, sure, why not? Go for it.
Yeah, I agree. My concern is dioxins.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's lots of issues potentially.
Yeah.
With the whole
process. I mean, go for it, man. I'm glad he's doing it. It's just whenever you're dealing with plastics, even if you're trying to turn them back into the petroleum product they were when they started.
Yeah.
Man, when you heat that stuff up, you're always going to have some yuck off of it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So, I'm trying to think of what else renewable resources we have. Using seeds that you can propagate.
Oh yeah, like what's that apple that you found? That was it?
The Antonovka.
Antonovka. Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Because like growing up, like if you wanted apples, you had to have a sapling or a cutting that you could then propagate, and that was fine. But like if you could go from seeds and not have it be a just nasty little pruny looking,
right?
Like that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, and you can do grafting, so you could take a seed from any variety and graft what you want onto it, but you still don't know if that thing you're grafting onto has good disease resistance.
Right.
You don't know how big it's going to get. So yeah, lots of questions, and something like an Antonovka where you can actually reproduce the seed true to type and know what you're getting every time. Great option. But I learned not long ago, or I kind of stumbled upon the fact that in, those really cheap seed packets, they're like 25, 50 cents somewhere in there that you can get at the store.
I saw
Yeah,
your video on that. That's hysterical that those ones are the not, GMO crap that because that's actually expensive to do. Like that actually makes a
right.
lot of sense. The cheap seeds are actually better.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, and
sweet.
you can go get the organic seeds and pay $4 for a little
Oh yeah,
tiny packet of them or
sure.
whatever, $5 or more. But yeah, the 50-cent ones, they're open pollinated. So they're not hybrid.
Right.
Some of them, a lot of them are actually heirloom. Um,
Wow.
so get a few of those and plant them. Let's say sunflower seeds,
Yeah.
get a Russian mammoth or something. It's going to be an heirloom seed that if you keep seeds from the plant that you just planted, not only are you going to get another, Russian mammoth,
Yep.
but you're going to get one that's even more acclimated to your climate.
Yeah, because it's already grown through and
Yep. And so those are called land races, where
hmm,
you take an existing known cultivar and you kind of further tweak it to your space and your
sure.
so the way you would do that is you take the best, the healthiest, the
Yep.
largest, whatever you're going for
Yep.
of the sunflowers that popped up, and you keep that one. You keep the
Sure.
seeds from that one. So yeah, seeds are obviously you can just kind of propagate those to infinitum,
Yeah.
assuming you keep your soils good.
My issue with harvesting seeds is always like the preservation, like, because some of them need to be kept cold and or humid or whatever like that, and they always go bad on me, and I forget about them. I
Yeah.
was
Well,
like,
there's some
"What
seeds
was
that
that
last.
seed?" It's like, that doesn't look right.
Mm.
Like, it's fuzzy.
Some of them need to go fuzzy before
Yeah,
they
it's true.
will. They like
Some of
tomato
them need to
seeds if you want
burn.
to save them.
Yeah,
Yeah, or burn, or uh,
it's wild.
be cold stratified,
That
or
yeah,
scarified. So
right?
many things with seeds. It's very interesting.
That is an interesting study in unto itself is people who can actually, they know all of the tricks for all of the different types of seeds. Like, dude, that's
Yeah.
wild. There's so much.
Yep. I think we've talked about this before, but I had a great uncle who
Mm-hmm.
started a squash seed that
Yes.
it was from a cave that was assumed to be a couple thousand years old.
I was clipping our podcast from that's been a little while ago, and
Mhm.
I ran across that clip actually this last week. I was like,
Nice.
oh my gosh, that's wild.
Yeah. Trying
Thousand
to
year
remember
old.
his name. It's been so like the last time I saw him, I was, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8.
Right.
But yeah. Anyways, it was cool. He had a picture of it. It was in the newspaper. It's an interesting looking squash.
I bet.
Um,
They
and it
really
would have
don't make
been
them like that anymore.
no, they would have been specific to North America, like before anything
Oh
was
yeah. Yeah, because
moved.
nothing would have been brought here, would have grown here and then, be, saved afterwards. So yeah,
Right.
that
Well,
would
and
be
there's
an
squash on
OG.
other continents, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting how these diverse populations of things, got bred down to something useful in different
In different
areas.
places, in different ways. And yeah.
Yep. Um, so another renewable resource that I think is really cool is
Mm.
water. So
Oh yeah.
especially moving across a landscape.
Especially flowing water. Flowing water is awesome. Like, yeah, I really wish like when we first moved here, we had that little creek down at the bottom. I assumed it was gonna stay flowing. It does not.
No.
Because I wanna have flowing water through my land. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a huge value, and we've got a spring at the bottom of our hill that
Right.
is wet weather as well.
Yeah.
Um, Technically, I think so. There's a spring captured at the bottom of my hill that there's a spring house on my neighbor's property.
Mhm.
But I think somebody piled up the soil on my land
Oh,
to make that spring
ah,
house. So technically, the spring is on my property, I think.
nice.
So, anyways, it's interesting, but that one's an actual, flows year round spring.
That's awesome.
Yep. But yeah, even if we're thinking about, I don't know, swales. So when it
Yeah.
rains, you're holding it in the landscape longer and you're pushing it down into the landscape.
Yep.
And I've seen people create springs that way.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, even yours is potentially from the old swales that were up the hill on the other side.
Mhm. Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, And like we've seen it used to great effect. I mean, in some of the de-desertification projects where they're just cutting these, the half moon swales,
Mhm.
and we're seeing growth in really pretty quick, quick turnaround.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Or, a lot of actually in the I've been finding them all over the place in the Sparta Spencer area, but
Mm,
what was it? The Conservation Corps? Was that what was in the
yeah, the
30s?
CCC, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. If anybody out there is listening or watching or whatever and has run across information on this, let me know because I'm trying to track down information. But all like huge swaths of Georgia, um, the panhandle of Florida, and even all the way up to it seems like right around Sparta,
oh wow.
there's terracing that is older than anybody remembers.
Oh,
So
okay.
if
Think
you,
that was a project from CCC days.
I believe it was.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I know somebody, I had a consult down in Georgia and they had these big swales all over their property, which I'm pretty sure were why they had springs in certain places,
Sure.
and why the soil was so good and had so few issues. And some of them were really obvious. Some of them were you unless you looked at lidar, you didn't know they were there.
Oh, isn't that awesome that you can just pull the lidar and like see
Yeah,
these landscape features? Like that is not an OEM
right.
curvature there. That's intentional.
So I was able to talk with these people and go, you know what? I looked at the lidar and it doesn't look like there's anything here. But if you're going to build a house over here, make sure you don't interrupt that swale because you're going to have water running
Mm,
at the back of your house if you do so.
right.
Yep. Or, make sure you don't run your driveway through a couple of these,
Sure.
or it's just going to wash out every time you get a rain.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Um, and I've seen people do it. I was at another consultation where somebody had done it and didn't know it, and their driveway kept washing out. And I looked at lidar, and sure enough, there's several swales that they had cut right through, not
Sure.
knowing it. But yeah,
Yeah.
if people know anything about the Conservation Corps and if they were doing that work, which I assume they were, um, yeah,
I know the Upper Cumberland is filled with houses that were built by the CCC, and so it wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, yeah. In fact, I had a consult at one where the house is a stone,
Oh, okay.
like
Yeah.
a flat stone house, and it's part of some conservation system now where like they're not allowed to add any additions to it or make
Oh,
modifications to it without special
approval and all that.
permission.
Yeah. Sure. Because it's
Yep.
all original.
Yep.
That's super cool. Yeah. Well, and so function stacking, like we're utilizing rainfall. It would have naturally just run off. So we're by being intentional and putting a swale in, we capture that, we force that down into the soil, we improve our soils, its ability to do stuff. We increase the amount of microbes that are growing in it. We increase all like the water retention ability of it. Like there's like yeah, it's all function stacking.
Yeah. Yeah. It's function stacking and it's understanding, these cycles. It's understanding how to value renewable resources
Yeah.
because water is a renewable resource. It's pumped by the sun,
Yes.
moved around that way. And the higher we can keep it on the landscape, the longer, the better.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and why would I want to pay? Because I have to spend money to irrigate my land. Why would I do that if I have a means of capturing that and you know putting that water back in the ground where it really is going to go and
right.
making use of it? Why wouldn't I do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think you really want to value that resource. And by holding it in the soil as long as you can, by holding it up
Reducing
high.
evaporation. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Keeping it up high where you can reutilize it as many times as possible, with as much pressure as possible, because then that gives you more options for what you can do with it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, in reality, what we're talking about, if we break it down to scientific term, is reducing entropy.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're making things efficient and using them in such a way that we don't allow the energy or the resource to leave our property until it's been used to the extent that it can.
And when it does get used, not to a devastating, because we've talked about like how detrimental water can be And I
Hmm.
mean, perfect case is, washing out your driveway. That's detrimental.
Right.
So if we can make good use of it prior to that and, slow it down and force it down under the ground where it isn't sitting on the surface and it's not wiping out all of our topsoil. What's up, Mama Bear? Then yeah, that's going to be beneficial to everybody.
Yeah. One, our as the U.S. by tonnage,
Yeah.
our highest export is topsoil.
Oh, that's a horrible, but yeah. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
And so that's the prime example of not valuing and reusing renewable resources.
Yeah, we're relying upon, oh well, we can just pump the chemicals into the land to fake it out and make it think that it's got all the nutrients. That's not the same. That's how
Right.
we ended up in the dust bowl. Let's not do that again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're essentially the way that we farm is essentially using hydroponics with the soil as our
As our
stabilizing medium.
yeah, right. Like no.
Yeah, making three minerals in the format that the plants are forced to uptake them, like they don't have a choice.
Yeah, because it's the only thing that's available, and so they need something. So that's what they have. I mean, we're seeing the same kind of impact in the bees, where they have these giant monocultures. They are nutrient deprived, and they are
Mhm.
susceptible to diseases. And now we have colony collapse. Awesome.
Yep. Yeah.
Plants aren't
Well,
any
and
different.
it goes to also, transporting them to
Oh yeah,
almond fields,
right.
and then them getting exposed to all the garbage that we're spraying there, the glyphosate we're using to make sure that the almond fields don't have any grass growing in them, because God forbid.
There'd be
Um,
grass. Gosh, like why?
yeah. Um, and so they're getting exposed to all this stuff along with the nutrient deficiencies and the other things that, and then we're doing things like it's essentially not in vitro fertilization, but AI or
Artificial insemination.
yeah,
Yeah,
artificial insemination
yeah,
for bees.
yeah.
Well, the way that bees mate
The way that the queens are formed, you mean?
well, no, the way that the
Because that's
queens
fairly nasty
mate.
too. Oh yes.
So getting way down in the weeds on a weird topic.
That's what we do.
That's what people are here for, right?
Right.
All like two of you. No, there's more
No,
today, but
we
that's
got
good.
we got 10 of them in here.
That's right.
Good.
So the way it works is a
And we
new
appreciate
queen,
y'all.
we do, will take off and it'll fly as fast as it can away from the hive.
Okay.
And the first drone to catch that queen gets to mate with it.
Oh, that's funny. I had no idea. Oh, that's bizarre.
So
It's a,
the
it's a
reason
drag
that
race.
it is, it's a
like
drag
catch
race.
me. Ah.
Hopefully the right kind of drag race.
Hey now.
Anyways,
I'm clipping that.
well,
We're gonna be internet famous. Never mind.
so what happens is the best drone, the genetically most virulent, most
Sure.
physically capable drone that is going to live the best is going to be the one who produces the offspring for the next hive
Makes
when
sense.
the hives split.
Yeah.
And so you get this perpetual high grade mating system for the bees. And when you
Sure.
artificially inseminate, you're just taking
Whichever.
whatever you
Yeah.
get.
Sure.
And then you have weak colonies, which works great for bee breeders,
Uh-huh.
but it doesn't work great for people raising bees, especially home scale bees where you're maybe trying not to use chemicals for treatment and for,
Right.
because
They're weaker.
hives
So,
can
yeah.
get overwhelmed with parasites, fungus, things like that. And so if you're not
Mites.
treating, if you're not treating the hives and they've got these weak bees, they're going to die off. And then you've got to go buy a new colony of bees every year.
Yeah, right. Aw. Thank you, Mama Bear. Appreciate it. That's awesome. You're starting your first hive this year? Dude,
Nice.
that's rad. Good luck
Um,
with that. My aunt and uncle are doing the same thing.
if you have not found him yet, Adam Martin of beekept.com.
Right?
Dude is awesome. He does workshops, really down to earth guy. And he does natural beekeeping in a way that is like everything I would have thought of. Like I was keeping bees for a while and I was like, this is stupid. Why do we do it this way? Like you should be able to, fill in the blank, be in your
Right.
hive twice a year instead of like every week.
All the time.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and like, why can't we just leave them alone? They do, they do it in nature just fine. Why do we
Right.
need to interfere like this? And he's got it all figured out. Like I'm not kidding. He can split hives in a way that makes sense, that allows the bees to do what they're going to do. He gets honey from them. It's not quite as much, but he doesn't
Sure.
feed them. He doesn't go in the hives more than a couple times a year. Like,
Nice.
so
What was his
anyways, if
name?
you want, Adam Martin,
Nice.
he's down, I think he's near Columbia, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
Columbia, Tennessee.
Cool.
But yeah, he does. I think he's got some online stuff you can buy as well, but he does classes and workshops, which from everything I've heard are great. I haven't actually wanted to start bees again, so I haven't taken them.
Right on.
Do you think of any other?
I was trying to think of flowing water.
Yeah.
Like, how did we get on bees? Because us.
Because we're ADD.
That's right. I mean, like, yeah, we could be the AI, bots, and say, oh, you flowing water, you have, you can make electricity. Yeah. It's boring.
Not usually.
Honestly, does not. Yeah.
No. Run us through that. What are some of the hangups with hydroelectric on a small scale?
On a small scale, you need to have an incredible amount of head pressure in order to actually produce any kind of meaningful movement in your generator, and which means that you need a huge elevation change from where your water comes in to where your water goes out. And most landscapes just don't support it, unless you happen to, let's say, like, there was one property I looked at north of Cookville that had this really big ravine, and it had a spring at the head of it. And I was like, okay, I could, because it was a big ravine, I could probably wall this up, make a dam here, and have enough head pressure at the base that I might be able to spin something, but it's not going to be reliable. It's going to be so much fuss. Keeping the hydro systems clean and clear is a pain. It's one of those, like, it seems like it would be easy. It seems like it would work well, and it doesn't.
No.
Not on a small scale.
So the big benefit in hydro is when it's producing, or when it works right and isn't getting clogged with, a little tiny piece of bark or something.
Yes.
It produces power all day and night.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you can calculate, it's going to produce me 250 watts nonstop.
Yeah. Here's my load. Here's my, awesome.
Yeah. So that can be really great and give you a consistent power.
Yeah. Unlike solar, which, you have cloud coverage and you have trees and snow and rain and all this other stuff that can vary it. Unlike wind, where you have gusts and, dearths. Unlike a lot of those systems, it's fairly consistent, because water in, water out. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, things people don't think about is, you not only do you have to do all the things you're talking about, you have to keep it contained within a pressure capable sleeve. So that's going to be a pipe.
Yep.
A lot of animals that notice water are going to chew on that pipe.
Yeah. So now you're going steel pipes to keep them from gnawing through it.
Right.
That gets plugged up, and now you have no way of clearing it out because it's a steel pipe and you can't open it up.
Yep.
Frogs that love it.
Yep. The other one is, as you run water down and you create pressure at the bottom, so you create that head pressure that you need.
Yep.
You're going to create suction at the top.
Yep.
And that suction at the top is
pulls things in. Oh yeah. Things that you didn't think would fit will fit.
Yep.
When given enough incentive.
Yeah. Or let's say, you've got some type of filter and it's working, and everything that would go down, it gets sucked to the side.
Yep.
You're like, great, nothing went down it. Well, now it's going to start sucking air in from the top.
Yeah.
Right. And then now it won't work at all.
You just blocked up all of the water that would be coming in, and now you have no head pressure.
Once you get hydrological lock, or I should say airlock in a hydrological system.
Yep.
That's hard to get rid of.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You to refill it all. It's like anyone who's played around with a siphon. Mm-hmm. Once you have that air bubble at the top, it's dead. Like you're going to have to pull it out, reprime it, fill it back up, go again.
Yeah. And we could probably go on for another 2 hours about all the problems with hydroelectric.
Probably.
Mini hydroelectric. Very cool. It works in some circumstances.
Oh yeah.
But you will be the hydroelectric engineer from the moment you put it in until the moment you decide it's not
Yeah,
worth it
you will
anymore.
never not be fussing with it. Never.
Yep. So yes, you nailed that one. That's absolutely correct. Um, yeah, but hydro, I mean, it's kind of cool. The other thing you could do is you could do a large, like a large water wheel.
Yeah.
That tends to be more viable, but it's more viable in one sense, but it can still get clogged. You get a really hard rain and you get a lot of tree limbs and things pushing through, or just
Yeah.
so much water that it washes it out. So you're still
And
still
it's,
the same issue.
I mean, like, gosh, most of them are made of wood. They
Mhm.
break down. Anytime you have a junction between wood and metal, you have, chemical reactions that cause that expand, and you have, when it gets dry, things crack. Like yeah, no, it absolutely is better, but it's so much better to use water to be water
Mhm.
than to use it as a medium to create something else.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the areas where people make a mistake when thinking about electricity and creating energy
Mhm.
is not understanding the difficulty in switching potential energy to electrical energy. And so I saw another one of those AI generated. You should, instead of buying batteries for your
Oh
solar
gosh.
system, you should use a weight based battery.
Oh yeah, the gravity battery kind of
Yeah,
setup.
gravity
Yeah,
bat. Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, except
yeah,
how much electricity does it take to lift a car, 100 feet in the air with a
yeah.
winch?
Right.
Not that much.
No, given
So on
time,
its
yeah,
way down, when you're getting like
you're
30%
not gaining that much.
efficiency, if that, you're not getting that energy back,
Nope.
right? So it's just it's a non-starter as far as our modern use of energy,
Yeah,
to think of gravity batteries.
yeah. Well, and most people don't understand the scale. Like they're like, oh, this is a couple 100 watts or something. Like you don't realize how much power you use. I mean, your microwave is over 1,000 watts.
Mhm.
That's a lot of power. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just your microwave. We're
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
talking about
usually
your
12 to
freezer.
15.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of the newer ones are absolutely. We're not talking about your stoves. We're not talking about the refrigerator and freezer. The power requirements are huge. So, a system like that isn't, I mean, it might help maybe, but is it worth, again, going back to, is it worth the extra fussing that we're going to have to do because we're going to be the extra energy input to
Right.
maintain it?
Well, and how about the number of times you had to charge your drill battery to put up this tower,
Yeah.
or the amount of gasoline you had to burn to saw down, use your sawmill to saw down these giant beams that you put together that can handle lifting that kind of weight. Like,
Right.
you've expended more energy than the thing will ever store.
Yes. Yes. Very easily.
Yeah. So probably, so in like, I don't know, a lighter's worth of fuel, I think there's enough energy to, if you're using it efficiently, to recharge your phone like 30 times.
Is it really? Wow.
It's something like that.
That's wild.
I'm sure that's not exact. Somebody might correct me if they watch it. Feel free to. Anyways, um, yeah, it's the amount of energy stored within fuel and how little we think of that is, it's pretty mind blowing.
That is. That is wild. I've got to know now. So
You're
how much
frozen.
oh, it's because I was Googling how much
Yeah.
energy is in a Bic lighter. Full size Bic lighter contains approximately 4.7 grams of isobutane fuel holding 20 or 220,000 joules. That's 64 watt hours of potential energy. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
For
64
and that's just one little Bic lighter. 64 watt hours of energy. Like that. I didn't figure this out. Yeah, that's wild. Dang,
Yep. So maybe that's not 30 times, but
it's still a bunch. Like that's
yeah.
still a lot of energy.
Yep.
That's funny.
Cool. You got any other examples of reusing or tying renewable resources back into your property?
Ooh. Kind of covered all the ones I was thinking because I was honestly thinking more on the tech side of things than on the natural side of things. But we've kind of brought both of those in this conversation.
Yeah. One of the things that Holmgren kind of covers
Yeah.
in his principle, the fifth principle, is that you have to be a realist in it. Like you're going
Mm-hmm.
to use some amount of expendable systems or product or whatever else to get that renewable system up.
Sure.
And that's a world we live in. Maybe in some culture at some point there was, they kind of had things down to a T, and so somebody else could, um, mill your lumber with oxen power that were fed off of
Right.
grains that were made from compost but we're
Yeah.
not
It's
there,
not the world we live in. No.
right? And
And it
so,
needs to be okay to yeah. And because we've talked about it's like we're talking incremental things.
mhm,
Like do this to the best of your ability. Like if you have chickens, awesome. Utilize them to the the fullness of their capabilities. We're not saying that you have to add chickens to whatever you got going on, right?
right. When I think the other danger here is people hear these ideas like,
Yeah.
how do you function stack? How do you use renewable resources? How do you make them continually renewable? Um, and think, oh, I need to do all of those things. I love all those ideas. I've got to do those. And the reality is, no, like sometimes you need to step back and stop doing things
Mm.
so that you can get one thing in order so that it becomes the
Oh,
renewable thing that turns.
yes.
And then you throw something in.
Yes.
Um,
I'm very bad about wanting to do all of the things all at the same time.
yes.
Don't do that. Don't be
Yeah.
like me. Don't introduce
I
so many.
mean,
Well, even
everybody is.
from a scientific perspective, like you don't want to introduce so many variables. You
Mhm.
want it to really focus on a variable, analyze its effectiveness, analyze what how it's working, refine it, then move on to the next one. See how it interacts, and we've talked about how they interact, right?
Yep.
How it interacts with the aforementioned variable that you already introduced, and then stack from there. If you bring it
Exactly.
all in at once, you're just gonna roast yourself. You're gonna die.
Well, one of the principles that we talked about was observe and interact.
Yes.
And if you don't observe while you're interacting, you're not going to learn. You're not
Yeah.
going to figure out if you introduce too many things at once. It's like if you want to learn to juggle,
Yeah.
you start with the basics. You start with one thing, whatever you're juggling. You toss it
Right.
back and
Your
forth.
handkerchiefs or whatever they start with. Yeah.
Yeah, handkerchiefs or bean bags or whatever it is, right?
Not running chainsaws. What?
Right. Don't start with chainsaws. Or if you do, at least take the chain off. Uh,
There you go.
but so then you're going to add a second one. You get the process of how where does this one go? How do I catch it with this hand? How do I release the other one? Um, and you don't add a third until you've got the two down really well.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that you're at the end process once you've gotten it down really well. It means now if you want to, you can add a third or a fourth and start stacking those. But if you barely know how to juggle and somebody chucks a whole bunch of beanbags at you all at once,
Yeah.
you're not going to just like break into a juggle as they fly at you. That's not how it
Yes.
works.
Right. Well,
And I
and
see that too often.
I like Mama Bear's comment here, talking about the most precious resource that we have is time. I
Mhm.
can't agree with that more. That is absolutely true. And we've talked about it before. Like if there's one thing that you can do in your permaculture, your homestead, in your just general life that saves you just a few minutes, boy, that
Mhm.
adds up. So
Yeah.
if you can refine your process of that one thing and it doesn't take you that 10 minutes a day, that will make
Yeah.
such a massive, real, tangible difference in your life over time.
Yeah. No, simple automation
Yeah.
makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
Um, I in my home inspecting business, I pay for a software that's more expensive than others
Sure.
because it gives me automation tools so I can do if this then that. Took
Yeah.
quite a while to set up and get dialed in,
Right.
but now now I can do it, I can set up another home inspection while I'm in the crawl space of the one I'm at, right?
Sure. Oh
Not
yeah.
that I do that, but I could.
Good. Well, when I had my biomedical engineering firm, I designed a calculator, and I could walk into an ambulatory surgery center. I could ask a couple questions. How many OR suites do you have? How many recovery beds do you have? I
Mhm.
could plug that information in, and I could give them a quote in 10 seconds.
Nice.
Because I knew just by industry standards, if you have this many, OR suites, if you have this many recovery beds, this is the scope of your equipment inventory, and this is about what it's going to cost. And I was within like spitting distance on every bid.
Yeah. Cool.
It
Yeah.
takes
When I
time,
was,
but
it does.
having that system makes the biggest difference.
Yeah, I built a spreadsheet that had a whole bunch of back end stuff that you didn't see, but I could send it to, um, basically when I was in the cabling industry, the low voltage
Hmm,
cabling industry,
yeah,
very similar kind of idea where there's a back end that they couldn't see, but I could send them um, a spreadsheet and
that
they
they
could
can fill
plug
out.
in,
Yes,
yeah, the number of data drops they wanted, the distance they were going. And
right.
we realized we'd win some, we'd lose some, but I put the price a little higher and they were happy to pay the higher price for the convenience. So it'd be
Oh
like, these companies that would do the back end, they do the switches and everything else,
yeah,
but they didn't run cabling.
oh
And so
yes,
we could give them I could give them a sheet and they could go, oh, here's my job. It'll spit out a quote. It's got a contract built into it.
oh
And
nice,
we'll schedule guys and send them to do the work.
sweet.
And yeah, they loved it. But that's something that's automated where you get your process down. If I hadn't been doing that work for several years already, there's no way I could have gotten the pricing right.
Well, yeah, and so coming back to observe and interact is you have to live in that environment. You have to live with your homestead to
Hmm.
really understand the nuances. And we've talked about those nuances, like those little details. They're really important, and you learn to appreciate them and value them, and they allow you to refine things better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope people are catching on to, I'm sure we've got a smart audience,
Yeah, yeah,
that as we're talking, you're seeing how each one of these principles actually shows up with the others and how they start tying together. Because that's part of the idea of this series is we're talking not just about the individual principle, but how observe and interact as a principle. That was
hmm,
what principle three,
I think so.
or
Yeah,
something. Um, ties to the next principles in line like function stacking or use and value renewable resources. So these things start to mesh and
yep,
become that spider web that's resilient.
yep, absolutely.
Um, I had a few quotes. I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw those yet.
No, I hadn't scrolled down that far.
Okay. So one of them was Jeff Lawton, and he has this quote that gets used fairly often, but he said that you can solve all the world's problems in a garden.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean like, yes, it means that people who tend gardens are going to be a lot better off.
Right.
But what he's getting at is the things that you learn in tending a garden,
Yes.
the principles that you put in place if you're doing it right are actually the same principles that would basically change the world.
Oh yeah. There's a lot that we have lost. I was talking with my pastor about it a couple weeks ago. In being removed from plants and the cycles. We're so used to being able to just go to the grocery store, doesn't matter what time of year, and getting apples and getting pineapples and getting kiwi and grapes and all these things that we've lost those cycles of that occur naturally in life where you have this during this time and now we don't have that. You wait until next season and we'll have that again. And because so we've developed this impatience for those cycles. We've developed a real distaste for not being able to satisfy our immediate gratification requirements
Mm-hmm.
to our detriment.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's an absolutely valid point. Um, Here's another quote. This one's by Toby Hemingway,
Mm,
um, who's he wrote Gaia's Garden, which I've got mixed feelings about, but just based on the name, but it's got good information, just the
yeah.
premise. But he said permaculture gives us a toolkit for moving from a culture of fear and scarcity to one of love and abundance.
Mm,
Um, and I think that's because we're working with the natural principles and systems that God has put in place. And when we go from, you know, zero sum scarcity mindset to
Yeah.
everything around us is supposed to be renewable and reusable,
Yeah.
and starting to build that. You can't do it tomorrow. It's like investing,
Yes.
you know, it
Very
it
much.
builds over time. Except with investing, it's basically a casino and you can lose
And
everything.
you could lose it all. Yeah. Whereas this,
Yeah.
I mean, even if your crop is ruined, you have the knowledge and experience that is invaluable. Like you
Mhm.
still walk away with something that is of absolute value.
Right. Well, and I think, when you're stacking systems together,
Yes.
one major failure doesn't set you back entirely. It just makes things harder because you're building a system where you're going to have at least one decent failure of something that year.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're not trying hard enough.
Right.
Right.
And you're not learning anything if you're
Well,
not admitting that there's a
and a good
failure.
example would be like our electrical grid, where, yes, you have a car accident, takes out a
Mhm.
power pole, all of a sudden, all of that, power gets rerouted through other lines and you still have power. I mean, you may have flickered, it may have even dropped for a second, but pop, it's back up. And
Yep.
that's what we're talking about. That's that interconnectivity of systems where, yes, this one section may have been removed, but okay, yeah, it's going to impact you a little bit, but overall, nah, you're good.
Right. Yeah, and so Bill Mollison, here's I think the last quote I'm going to share is that he talked about that the greatest change we need to make is from the idea or the mindset of consumption to that of production.
Yes. Dude, can you imagine like if in just one crop, like if I just grew one crop and you grew one crop and my neighbor grew one different crop, like because like everybody that I know that grows anything, they're giving away whatever they're it's harvesting time and like they're like, I have so many zucchini. Can you please
Right.
take the it's like awesome, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a whole bunch of tomatoes. You got my tomatoes. I'll take your zucchini. We're cool. Like,
Yeah, and we should all be minding it that way, right? Like, sure, it's great to learn, I don't know, wood milling,
yeah,
but should everybody have a wood mill? No.
yeah,
No. Uh, a portable wood mill from one person in the community,
yeah, that's
great,
awesome. Yeah,
excellent. And that person getting really proficient on it, maybe teaching other people. So if they needed to, they could.
yeah,
Um, but it's not a skill that everybody needs to have, or a tool that everybody needs to have for
right.
that matter. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, we shouldn't be thinking of, I want to produce everything myself. It's more, I want to produce abundance
Yeah.
that I can tie back into another system, and that might be somebody else's system.
Well, and that's where, it comes back to community and like, and having those people that are in your life that are part of your community that can, it's like, hey, you've got this, I've got that, let's get together, let's do some trading here or some, whatever. Like, yeah, or don't try to be the lone wolf survivor. That's not life. That's no good.
No, and it's no fun. And
No.
even if you think you hate people, you don't hate people. You just are around the wrong people.
That's true.
So I don't know. I feel like we've covered it.
I don't think
You
so.
got anything else to add?
No, I think we did a pretty good job. I was like, you had all these notes. I feel bad. Like we just kind of skipped over a bunch.
Oh no, it's not a big deal. It was I told Jared before we started, it's kind of like vomited notes of a bunch of stuff that I think we hit all the highlights. I think people
Yeah.
probably hopefully got a good rounded understanding of what we're talking about and yeah, what David Holmgren is talking about too,
Right.
how this starts to tie back to some of the other principles. So
Yep.
if you want to learn more about this, you can watch our previous episodes on the previous principles, or if you want to subscribe,
Yeah.
you can see the future episodes where we'll cover the rest of the principles eventually. That we kind of
We'll
pepper
get there.
them in, yeah, so that people don't get too bored with them. But yeah,
Yeah. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow whatever platform you're on. We've got the podcast is out on Spotify. Thank you, Mama Bear. So you can follow some of the older ones and was it Amazon Music? Is it Amazon Music? Is that where they're doing their podcasting thing? think it is.
I
So
don't know,
I'll be pushing
honestly.
our RSS feed out there that way. Anyway,
Yeah. No, but
um,
on iTunes, that's going to be great
yeah,
because you might be sitting here watching us and like, I could be doing something
yeah,
else.
right.
Listen to this because you can.
You
There's
could be
no
out
reason to
gardening.
look. Yeah. There's no reason to be looking at our ugly mugs. You could be
That's
digging in your garden.
that's right.
But you could be listening
Yeah,
while not looking at us if you use the iTunes or Spotify or whatever else. And that's Resilient Live In, right? No
that's
G at
right.
the end.
No G at the end.
So,
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to follow us on, well, let's just go ahead and do that since we're talking about it. So yeah, you can check us out. My website is resilientliving.com. You check it out YouTube, same thing, Resilient Living, Facebook, Resilient Living, Instagram, Resilient Living, TikTok, resilient_living, because that one was taken. But anyway, yes, follow me there. If you don't know about my shop, I own Resilient Living. You might have guessed. Hey Vic. So I sell fairly, preparedness equipment, books, firearms, knives, freeze-dried foods, ammunition, stuff like that. But more than anything, I love doing research for people. I love helping people solve problems. I can always get you equipment. That's easy. But I like helping people solve problems. And a lot of the times it's, connecting them with, people like Ryan or, my friend Silas or Calvin or, all these different people that I've had the wonderful opportunity of, becoming friends with through this, not just this podcast, but through my shop, who are all very similarly minded. And we want to be able to empower people to live life resiliently. And so that's the shop.
yeah. You need a guy, you need a product, go to Jared.
That's right.
He's probably got it. And he's got better answers than Chat GPT.
It doesn't take much. I can tell you, yes, that's an awesome idea.
Yep. Whereas Chat GPT will tell you poop on a stick is a good.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, that's an amazing. What a novel concept. Like,
yes.
Oh,
anyways, don't ask Chat GPT about survival things. Ask Jared.
That's right.
So yeah, my name is Ryan Steve. I'm the homestead consultant because that website was available. And you can find me on YouTube, TikTok. I don't know. I've got some Instagram, I think, something like that. But find me wherever at the homestead consultant. You should be able to find me. And YouTube's kind of the big thing that I'm pushing, or the homesteadconsultant.com. I've got information about how you can get a hold of me if you want to do a consultation or if you need help with any type of homesteading thing. So that's me.
Mm-hmm. And if any of y'all have any questions about any of this stuff or other topics that you want to cover, just hit us up on any of those social medias, and we'd love to hear from you. And yeah. So we do this
what you want to hear about.
That's right. Every Tuesday, 7:00. We'll be here. Various topics, various guest speakers on stuff. So until next Tuesday, have a great one.
Bye, guys.
See ya.